Alright, you're going to be live right now. And let me see if Facebook already the feed is out.
And be alive.
Let me refresh my feed. Yeah, the feed is going live right now. Hey everyone, good evening. Welcome to my third podcast. We are going to talk about the impact of audio in our everyday life. We are invited guests, which is Raymond Gon Ong, and Gon Lo. For your introduction, I would like to welcome all of our guests, and I'll intro you one by one. This is Gon Lo, who is a wedding photographer based in KL, and Gon Ong, who is also the multimedia storyteller, which is also the founder of Penang Hokkien Podcast, and last but not least, Raymond Gore, the newscaster in TV3, as well as the founder of Speak with Confidence Club.
Woohoo!
Yo, what's up? Good evening, everybody.
Hello, hello.
Hi, JohnShen. How are you? Hi, John Ong. Hi, Raymond.
Doing
Hi,
great.
everybody. Good to see you all here.
Hi, everyone.
It's all good, man. It's all good. How's everybody doing?
Good,
Doing
I'm
great.
cold. It's snowing. Well, it snowed outside last night or a whole day yesterday, so it's cold.
Wow.
I have my blanket.
Awesome.
Oh,
How
I
is
had.
your new year?
Here's good. Very low key. Pretty much stayed home. I didn't go out at all. So I haven't left the house from 2021 to 2022. I haven't left the house yet.
That sounds.
Wow.
That sounds
So,
a bit
yes.
odd, but but we are at the beginning of the year, so you are like just 2 days, so it's not that bad.
That's right. But I don't anticipate leaving the house much for now. Hopefully not for long.
Well, I got my booster jab today.
Oh, good.
Oh, that is great.
So that was like unexpected. Like we were having breakfast over at in Klang, and I that was Amelia behind. So we will be like traveling to Dubai, like next week, coming week, and we figured we should really go get our booster jab since it was announced that the AstraZeneca recipient, as long as you're 3 months, you're eligible to go and get the booster jab. So on our MySejahtera app, we don't have any appointment, so we just crash. Just well, we didn't crash. We just walked in
Yeah.
and went for it. So we did. We got our booster jab after our breakfast.
Well,
So
that's
you
cool. Oh,
just
both of
walk
you.
in.
Yeah,
So
both
you
of
just
us.
walk into the vaccination center and
Yeah.
just tell them you want to get.
Yeah. So that vaccination was in Klang, and what happened is that we went there. There was a 2 p.m. walk-in kind of thing. So we were just in luck, and we lined up and we got our booster jab.
Awesome.
A bit tired though. It's a bit lethargic right now.
Yeah.
To be honest, I'm gonna pump up the energy, to look a little bit more alive, being in front of a camera.
Slap
You
yourself.
guys know what I mean, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
How about you, Gone On and Raymond? Have you get your booster shot?
I
Not
have.
me.
Yes. Oh, not you. I've gotten mine actually quite a while ago. I wanted to say in September, maybe. Was it that long ago? Oh, November. Maybe it was November. I can't remember. But yeah, I've gotten mine for a few months now. Last year I got
Hey.
it.
Oh, I mean, US are quite fast on the booster shot.
Yes, they are pushing. They're pushing for anybody who's eligible to be able to get a booster shot. So yes, it just depends on the individual if they wanted to get it or not. But yes, if
Yeah.
you want to, you can get them.
How about you, Raymond? When do you think your appointment will be there?
That's a good question. Probably the next couple of months, I guess.
I guess you don't have to wait because there's a lot of walk-ins right now. You can just go
Yeah.
and crash like me. Well, not crash, but legitimately walk in
Walk
and
in.
get your booster shot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
probably. Yeah, you're right.
All right. Let us go into the first question today. What
Oh, we have
are the
questions.
Yes,
Yes,
we
it's a
do.
there's a quiz. that you will
Yes, thank you,
score.
please.
Oh,
Who's gonna
no.
get bronze, gold, and silver? I mean, bronze, silver, and gold. I guess my order is a little bit off.
What other daily audio is in our everyday life?
Wow.
Who's pressing the buzzer? Who's pressing the
I'm
buzzer
the
first?
time. I'm the timekeeper.
Every single day, actually, right? Every single day. I'm just thinking from the moment I get up, my alarm is audio, and like you get to choose what sort of alarm you want to use. So my alarm is audio. I think I'm afraid of not afraid, but I feel like my natural self is to go and get sound or audio whenever possible. There is so I get up in the morning and then I go into the shower and there's a radio in the shower. I don't know how many of you actually have that. I've been growing up with having a transistor radio in the shower my whole life. So now I actually have one. It's a Bluetooth one. So and those of you who might know me, especially this group of people, I'm on Clubhouse through that Bluetooth speaker that I can speak to the people in the room while I'm showering. I know it sounds a little crazy, but I do that. So without going through my whole day, my moment starts with sound, go into sound, and then more sound. My day-to-day job requires me to I edit video, so I have to listen to audio and video, watch video at the same time. So it's constant. And then on Clubhouse, on social media, and so forth. So every single moment of my life, there's rarely any quiet moment. Even if there's a quiet moment, there's always some kind of audio in the background for me.
That is a great one.
That's interesting, John Ong, because for me, there isn't always audio in the background where I'm concerned, especially when I'm reading something or when I'm working. I'm not one of those who works with, you must have music in the background playing so that you're in your element, that kind of stuff. No, when I work, I like it to be quiet. And if I am reading, rarely do I play music. Now that you mention it, JohnShen, I rarely play music when I read. It sort of distracts my attention. So I guess I'm the opposite of John Ong. I do like quiet from time to time. And of course, I spend a lot of time on Clubhouse, as most of you guys would know.
And just to echo what Raymond would say, when he's reading, it is quiet. For me, reading is actually listening, because I read relatively slowly on a book, because I just not that single mind track focus on a book, and after like maybe half a paragraph I will way off. But while I'm driving, I could ingest an audiobook pretty well. Like I could like comprehend whatever the spoken words while I'm driving and still paying like 100% attention on the road, that kind of thing. So audiobook is really, really interesting for me. And after meeting these bunch of guys on Clubhouse and hanging out and everything, man, you guys really open up the whole entire conversation about audio and microphones and stuff like that to me. And of course, prior to that, I've been doing like a lot of videos, and audio is definitely part of it as well. So that's what audio is in my life.
I think
You know
for
what,
me,
JohnShen? I
audio.
think
Yeah. Go
I
ahead,
think
Raymond.
John Lou is just showing off that he can multitask, unlike us.
Hey, I
it's
can
true.
multitask.
Well,
while I look at
John,
Clubhouse while I'm in
listen
the
to
shower.
music and do stuff, and Clubhouse and shower at the same time. Wow.
When I'm here with you guys now, I can't do anything else. It's just all
Touche, I guess, but we want to hear Raymond in the shower while in Clubhouse as well. So let's start that out.
That's next. That's next podcast. Next episode. You gotta tune in for Raymond in the shower.
It's like how how Raymond sound, right? He sounds so good,
Yep.
and if
Yep.
he's in the shower on Clubhouse, he will have reverb like no other.
It's a natural reverb.
Oh, John Lu, John Lu.
Cheers to that.
Sorry, JohnShen. JohnShen, you better take over the show again. Take back control of the show before before all of us.
Before I turn to a shower talk.
Yeah, I think for me, audio is everything. You see, when we click the mouse, there is a sound, and that can be an effect. And when we speak, whether it's through virtually or physically, that is a part of the audio. So I guess that sound is like audio. If it is like every single minor thing that mix up. I'm not sure if it is makes sense or not, but I think that is how a form of sound.
Yeah, it's
Well,
in a way.
go ahead,
Sorry, go
John.
ahead, Raymond. Go. I mean,
No,
Raymond, go.
in a way
Please
you're
go.
right, but in in a way, JohnShen, you're right. But on the other hand, some of the sounds that we hear, although it's audio, is actually some kind of unwanted audio, and some of it could be
Yes,
noise pollution.
correct.
John Ong, over to
Yep.
you.
Thank you. No, I was going to say that exactly what Raymond was saying, that sometimes sound is it's not like you need to play something. Sound is everywhere. Especially if you're a hearing person, you hear sound everywhere, and that's why when we do video, and John Lo should know about this too, is that when in a video, when there's silence, complete silence, it's not natural, right? So it feels and looks awkward when somebody, even not speaking, just walking down the street, on a busy highway or road, you anticipate hearing traffic noise. So there's always sound in our lives. So that's why when you go into complete silence, or sound that is slightly off, we all know it for a hearing person. So that's why, to me, sound is everything. You would not want to have, like, especially editing video, you have spoken words or a natural sound, or what we in the video world we call the nat sound. And then if you want to cut something, if you kind of go abruptly go quiet like that, that's really odd. But I just turned off my microphone as I'm speaking. It just sounded odd. It's very jarring. So there's always sound to me in my world.
I think
Doesn't have to
sound
be
can
I've
be
got to
used
add.
very. Raymond, go for it.
I just wanted to jump in and add on what John Ong was saying. You know, we're also conditioned to the sounds around us, sound and noise. That if I read somewhere, okay, if we were to be isolated in a totally quiet area, guess what? We would actually hear something inside our head, and that would be very loud. And I think some of us will actually go mad.
Have you all tried that? What
Right.
is that thing, that chamber that, like you go
Yeah, there's
into
this
this quiet
chamber,
space?
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
sorry,
No, I've not
it's
tried.
in our Facebook feed, I think. Right, it's a
Oh
chamber
yeah.
where it has a minus some do not know how many dB. Where if you go in there, you can actually hear your breath and your heartbeats, and after a while, you actually get nauseated because the absence of sound is actually deafening.
That
Weird,
can
but
Mm.
drive
yeah,
you crazy.
deafening.
Yep.
Yeah.
Loudly deafening.
Oxymoron, but true.
Yeah.
But I think with the formation of all this sound, what I want to know is how you all get interested in audio.
Mm.
Mm. John Ong?
I, I like I said, right? Sound has been a huge part of my life. I think the big influence of sound is probably radio. I grew up. My grandmother listened to radio. My grandfather listened to Rediffusion. I don't know if y'all remember Rediffusion. It's like cable radio essentially, and the the picture that sound can paint. And growing up as a creative kid, I am very drawn to it. I always wonder what this little box that has audio that comes out that has its own world. It's almost like TV, but you don't even need the visual, right? Because you can paint and fill in all those imagery just by listening to sound. So I was very fascinated by radio, radio drama particularly. I remember Sunday evenings, there's ghost stories on Radio Fusion that my grandfather would listen to. And we were all very scared, but we would listen because it is so fascinating. You can always paint this picture of the ghost stories. And then there's the afternoon dialect drama, I think. It on radio. I can't remember what radio it was, but it was on the radio where you can listen to all the stories, like drama essentially, in the afternoon, right before my afternoon school session. While waiting for my school bus, I would listen to that. So I have always been very fascinated by sound since I was young. Of course, I didn't know that, okay, all those are like audio related things. I just was very fascinated by it. And of course, it subsequently led me into broadcasting and film, which was my major, and also, creating my own podcasts because I have always been fascinated by audio. And now in various different platforms of social audio because I like them. I like how natural sound is, and also how the ability of being able to connect to other people at a different level. When we speak with our voice, it's just at a different level than writing a letter. I mean, there are times that you would write letters, but send text messages. But when you speak, there's just a certain additional connection that you don't otherwise get. So that's how it affected me.
Wow.
You gotta excuse me, my water is burning.
Huh? Oh.
Yeah, Raymond.
And how does that sound like? Water burning.
Plop, 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 plop.
Well, okay, so it wasn't like until I dealt with, say, making YouTube videos, I would say, or rather, YouTube videos, because early in my career when I was like putting sort of like half-baked videos together to promote my photography services, right? I've done videos and I put it together and I don't understand sound and whatever. Later on, when I was like watching more movies, when I took notice, I learned the term like Foley, sound design
Yes.
and all those kind of thing. When it comes to movie, that totally inspired me to actually look into audio a different way, like how your video could sound different because of all these elements. Like I wanted to just add on to John Ong's thing when he was referring to like movies earlier on, and when he says that if there is a absence of sound, it's jarring. But in a movie, I remember there's this scene where in The Martian, you guys watch The Martian, that movie?
Yeah. Yes.
Right, there is a very good use of sound where when you're in Mars, when you're outer space, it's a vacuum, right?
Yeah.
So it was Mark Wahlberg's character. Is it Mark? His
Mark
name.
Wahlberg.
So that Mark Wahlberg, right? He was in the space shuttle where he was like having a communication through text back to Earth. All right, and a very undesirable message came to him, and he was so pissed off, and he started swearing. Right, we know that he started swearing. It was very audible at first when he was upset, and when he started swearing with all those four-letter words, camera angle cut off to the outer space where he's inside, and it's actually all blank. There's absence of sound. There's no swear word, but we know exactly what it is. So these kind of like usage of sound, the absence of sound, or make it like very, very present and highlighted, actually inspire me to make a lot of my YouTube video differently. I've got like a series of like all these ASMR kind of series of camera reviews that I've done. It's just based on sound, the location, a natural sound, like what John Ong was mentioning just now, and also so that's sound to me, and that inspires me.
That is great.
Wow.
What a great sharing. How about you, Raymond?
Oh, okay. I guess it's my turn. By the way, I wanted to say, John Low, when you brought up your cup to take a sip, that's when I remembered I was boiling water. And it's dry.
Oh my God, it's dry.
Yeah,
Thank goodness. Did it burn? Was it a kettle?
yeah, the kettle, and I'm
Mm.
I
reboiling
know.
another round.
Don't you have?
Okay,
Okay, speaking of audio, don't you have like a little whistle thing on your kettle?
yeah, you
Where
had a
it'll
whistle
record?
thing, but
Sound.
something I think something must have gotten stuck there or something, so there's no whistle
Oh
anymore.
no.
You know,
See the importance of audio.
The importance of audio and
exactly,
sound.
exactly.
It's a
Okay,
reminder.
right for me. Well, please remind me about my water
Okay, what? How many minutes?
now.
Right.
Maybe 1-2 minutes. So
Okay.
I'll be quick. For me, audio for me started with music when I was young. This was way back in school. It could probably be primary school. And it's pretty much like what John Ong mentioned, except I didn't listen to Radio Fusion. We had transistor radios in the house. So, you could listen to the news, you could listen to music. Basically, it was just these two. So that's how
BBC
it, and
in the morning.
well, we didn't get BBC then, and that's how I started listening to audio and got captivated by how storytelling went. It's storytelling and people relating stuff to you that captures your imagination, and you start to see, as what John Ong pointed out, how you paint a picture in your mind. All right. So if two different people listen, you probably see two different things, and everybody will agree that it's a good story. you know. So that's how it started for me, and it was very important because music was a huge part of my life then, and is still today, but to a different extent. And then when I started providing DJ services, I had to buy equipment. That's how I got involved in trying to understand, preamp, amplifier, microphones, cables, stuff like that. So that's how I got exposed to all the ins and outs of audio. But those were all physical stuff. It's not like today all software. Those were purely hardware. So it formed a pretty foundational understanding for me of audio and sound in general. Okay, so if you excuse me, I have to go get my kettle.
Don't burn
Great
yourself, Raymond.
sharing. That
Oh,
is a
just
great sharing.
I'm actually looking at the Facebook stream that we guys are streaming right now. There's about 7 people actually uh, listening to us. And if you guys got any questions at all for Raymond, for the 3 Johns, he's being cornered by
I
3
know. I was
Johns
just gonna
today.
say. I was
Right?
just gonna
And it's
say there are
totally,
like 3 Johns and a Raymond. That should be
yeah,
a
he's
show.
totally gone. That 3 John and a Raymond.
Yeah, 3 Johns and a Raymond.
That's a good
A
title.
new show.
Yes.
Yeah, so if you got any questions, if you want to jump into the conversation, do leave us a message. Say hi. Hi, Desmond. Desmond just said
Hi,
hi. Um,
Desmond.
a fellow clubhouse. Is that what you got to say? Clubhouser?
Oh,
Oh,
Desmond.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna go.
Kunju
say hi.
Kunju says hi.
And yeah, questions. So if you have any questions for us, type in there in the comments.
Easy ones, not hard ones.
The answer can always be I don't know.
Sureen. Hello.
Hey, Sureen, I remember that name. Oh, wow. Oh, you're an
It has been
FB.
some
Huh.
time.
Oh,
Hello,
okay.
hello.
Yeah. Good to see you.
So, JohnShen, how about yourself? We
Yeah.
talk about what audio inspires and everything.
I think for me, it started from multimedia itself. We all from I think when I was in a primary school, I was very interested in multimedia, like building website, listening animation, listening to music. And I think from there, I start to learn about audio, and that is how I get interested in. It's quite simple, but from there, I slowly learn, get until high school. I have a chance to be in touch of the PA system, and that how I learn even more about that.
PA system. Wow.
Yeah. So
There's,
yeah, yeah.
was any of you in audiovisual club? Like I don't know what they would call it, AV clubs or something.
AV club.
Yeah, AV Club. Yeah,
Nowadays it doesn't sound the same.
I wasn't, but but what did AV clubs do? John, were you in AV Club? Audiovisual Club?
I was never because but I was interested in, but I was too I
Hmm.
think I was too shy me shy. I think I was too bashful about the lack of knowledge, which is really silly because that's why you join the club, to really gain. But I was what is it, like I felt very conscious for not knowing, because I started with appreciating audio but not the interest of doing audio. So I knew about the existence of those clubs. So what those clubs do is they are essentially the audio visual team for the school. So for assembly, they set up microphones, they set up all the PA system, the speakers, and so forth. Anytime there's any event, they would do that. Sometimes they would work with if there's like a video team or club, they would work with them to do live audio that way. So I was never a part of it, because when I went to school there, I mean, I don't think there's like a video club, but there was a photography club. So we didn't do audio then, but we definitely did. I know all the AV club kids would set up assembly, so microphones and speakers. I wasn't interested in those. The gears didn't really come until I started podcasting.
Well, I guess being last time being the days that where we were like growing up, audio was perhaps maybe um the easiest way to get into all this tech stuff, right? I mean, video is gonna be expensive. Cameras, photography is gonna be expensive. Audio would possibly, well, it is expensive, but it possibly come
Relatively,
third. Yeah,
yeah.
comes third and becomes the entry level of, like, geeking out when it comes to this kind of media stuff, right? I mean, Raymond, you got into this career of, like, with
Hmm.
audio and video kind of thing. So
I mean, that's like your voice is your
yeah,
career.
But
so you got to start
while you
early.
guys, yeah, while you guys are talking about this, it reminded me about this. By the way, I was in my 20s when I started this DJ thing where I had to go buy equipment, and I just wanted to share the fact that what was interesting now that I think about it was, I was actually engaged by a DJ company to actually DJ for them. And when I went to buy my own equipment, I actually just modeled it after theirs because I knew what worked and what kind of sound I wanted to get out of it and the kind of quality. And that's when I became very discerning about the audio quality, because then you have different types of microphones. Even those days you had the lesser microphones, the better microphones. And those days, of course, the SM58 was kind of like the standard for most DJs. I'm not talking about studio, but this is like outdoor DJs. So that was the time when I started learning about the importance of audio, especially when it's spoken and when you play the music. So that's where I appreciated audio equipment per se, and I understood to a certain extent the flow of the source going to where, and then what it has to go through to be pumped out and to get that kind of quality. And at one time, I was very obsessed with speakers as well, because I I wanted a certain sound, more definition, that kind of stuff. And different speakers would give you different quality of audio as well. So it was interesting, but it can get very expensive if you start chasing that perfection. Just the audio files, I know a couple of audio files. they would spend 100,000 ringgit on their audio system and put it in a canary.
Yeah.
Okay, because
Oh
that
wow.
apparently is the best. It's a box. The canary is a box shaped car, and you have insulation. You can insulate it, and that's about the best sound you ever get. And they rather
You
put
know,
it in the car. Like,
Raymond, when you say canary, right? Just to make sure that everybody gets it, it's the small little perodua car. It's not a term we use in the audio file saying canary as
Canary
a
2.0.
sound booth. It's not a sound booth. It's not nothing fancy. It's that perodua canary car. Okay, that's what Raymond say. Because it sounds fancy, you know, when you say
Wait, do you
canary.
actually buy a car to put your sound system in? Do people actually do that?
Yeah, my
Yeah,
friend did
a
it,
lot.
and he
Oh
spent
wow!
100 grand on the thing on the sound
That's
equipment.
amazing.
Wow.
The sound equipment is more expensive than the car. Like you could like buy 3 to 4 of that car. Easy. That's interesting.
Yeah, I want to move on to another topic, another
Hmm.
question. Maybe you can
Yeah,
share
come
about
on,
like
John Low and John Hong. You see, you've held JohnShen up. He wanted to move on. Okay,
Ah,
let's go.
Oh, okay, sure.
no, wait. I'm
What?
just kidding.
yeah, go
There you go.
ahead.
I'm just kidding. Your show, Johnson. Your show. Wrong, John.
So my V sounds better.
My V or
Let's
your
go down
V?
to the rabbit hole.
Okay, JohnShen, go ahead, please.
Yeah, let's talk about how about the setting up and maintaining and inspecting the sound equipment. I think that is a very technical thing.
Yeah, you're right. I only have to say this. When I was operating this DJ thing with my own equipment, we 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 didn't we just used
know
it until it died. Or when
Wait,
something
like one
sounded
setup?
or when something sounded wrong, then we checked it. Oh boy.
So you mean you once you set it up, you never touch it until you
Yeah, we don't touch anything. Yeah, the only thing is press play, move the lever controls up and down, turn some knobs for EQ and stuff. That's about all, and switch on and off until something goes or something sounds weird. And then we troubleshoot. Yeah.
But that's quite a testament to audio equipment out there, ain't it not? Like a lot of the audio equipment is built like a tank in a lot of ways that it just lasts like for a very long time before it actually start sounding weird, and then you see something's wrong.
Yeah, definitely.
Like I've got my Blue Yeti. Have I told you guys about my Blue Yeti? I think must have told you guys about the Blue Yeti. It's been with me for the past 10 years. I didn't need a mic. In fact, I don't even need this mic. It's just like this is really, really nice to have, that kind of thing, right? And the Blue Yeti until now works so good, right? But of course this is better.
it's better looking. Show us. Is it within view of your?
It is. What, the Blue
Your
Yeti
Blue
or
Yeti,
the
yes.
show? It's downstairs, unfortunately.
Oh, okay.
Downstairs.
We
It's
can
in a
see
box
the
right
sure, John Low.
now. Yeah, let's caress it. This is how I check my equipment, JohnShen. Like, no, I mean, let's not get there.
Is your Yeti kind of like this?
Mine is a silver one.
This is my Yeti Pro, and the reason why I got a Yeti Pro is because it has you can't see the butt. It has it's a hybrid, so it has a USB as well as an XLR.
The
and also a
original,
headphone. Yeah, this
the original
iPhone-
Shure MV7.
Except it's a side address, not the top address one, or whatever you call this, the end.
When
I've
did you
had
get
for
this,
a while.
John?
Oh, I got this
Okay.
as an award. No, just kidding. No, it looks like
It looks like that.
an award.
It definitely looks like
I
that.
want to thank all my Clubhouse friends who gave me this award for being the most talkative person on Clubhouse. Actually, this would be a really good award for any.
It does look
audio
nice.
related. Yeah, it does look nice. Thank you. I'm so thankful of the award. Thank you for voting for me. There you go. That's sound. Yeah, I really didn't start on my audio equipment world until I started my podcast because I didn't have any audio equipment. I remember my first mixer I still own it. It's a tiny, I want to say like 6-track Behringer, which I just recently have a conversation with JohnShen about a new mixer, and it has no USB. It's just audio connecting. There's no USB, and then I upgraded to the 12-track mixer, also a Behringer. I still have that over there right before Clubhouse. In fact, I was on that mixer for a few weeks before I got my Rodecaster Pro. So it really was. So I used that mixer, that 12-track mixer, for years for my podcast. And I have a few mics. Actually, I have like all this audio equipment in the back, like the white shelf of all my audio, not all of them, but half of those audio equipment. I have a drawer full of cables, different audio cables, connectors. Yes. Did you lose me?
No, we didn't
Oh, my
lose you,
focus.
but yeah, your focus.
Yeah, there you go. There. I just need
Oh,
to-
okay.
Thank you.
So it wasn't just me seeing him blur. I thought it.
No,
I
it's
was
my
worried,
old camera.
What is in my holics, man?
My
I thought I grew old like so quickly in the past like 15 minutes talking to you guys that I suddenly need a pair of new glasses.
this is
That's
my,
what I was
Wow.
thinking.
This
Wow.
is my
Cables.
box of audio stuff. Like if I need some kind of this is
RCA
the
cables.
TRS to RCA cable, I have it. RCA to RCA cable, I have it. A ground loop isolator, I have that.
Wow.
This is the one that I brought from Malaysia. Let me show you. I still have this karaoke mic, gold one.
Mm.
I brought
This-
this from Malaysia. I sang many Sheila Majid songs with this microphone. I
Wow.
still have it. So there, I have a ton of audio equipment now. Not like the hi-fi stereo audio equipment, but like production audio equipment. I'm obsessed with it.
I have
You've
a
only
box as
seen
well.
you do. You only
Yeah,
seen the
but
tip of the
it's very
iceberg.
smaller box, and here it is, a very small box only.
Wow.
And well, this is my adapters. So I have different
Oh,
type of
wow.
adapters, like adapters that goes into different box, cable go into different box. My microphones I have drawers of some microphones. I don't have really expensive microphones, but I have a few different ones for different applications. So I'm obsessed a little bit. Of course, I have my binaural microphone, my stereo microphone, which you put into your ears like headphones, and then those will record sound in stereo. And it's fun to walk down the streets and do stuff like in the real world where you can actually, it's like radio drama. You can actually hear things that happen to the left and to the right, the front and to the back of you. So I'm obsessed with those things. I can spend all day talking about that. That's why we have Soundcheck Club.
Yeah.
We can talk about
Yep.
audio.
By the way,
know-
I'd like to show you my.
Yeah,
I'd like
go
to
ahead,
show you my
Raymond.
cables, but they're all over the place. I'm not as organized as you guys. Go ahead, John. Sorry, John Lo.
I wanted to say that I would like to show you guys my cables, but I've got to unplug the only cable that I have. I don't have a lot of cables or plugs like that. USB cables, I've got plenty.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think the setting up is kind of easy. Like when you unboxing, you plug everything in. But when
Mm.
the troubleshooting is the one that costs a lot of headache.
I think it's with the routing of audio here and there, and that's when it gets complicated, right? Like beginning of the before you guys actually saw us on Facebook right now, we were having some routing issues with JohnShen earlier on as well.
Oh, you
The
did
John,
sound check.
you
Yeah.
yeah,
Did
a
sound
bit,
check
a
before
little
you
bit,
come in.
a little bit. We always do sound check.
That's right. That's right. But I
When you
th-
think,
I'm fascinated by I'm a tinkerer, so I every time, even after I finish setting up something, unlike Raymond, that you just leave it alone and just, I always wondered, like, I wonder what if I do this, what would happen, and then I'll break it. And so I have to take pictures of, like, draw a diagram of how I used it, because before I have full understanding, I probably still don't have full understanding on like a mixing board, right? But I definitely learned so much more now after spending almost a year on Clubhouse doing and talking about mixers almost at least once a week, if not more. So I would say at least like minimum of 2 to 10 hours a week. I'll be talking about audio mixers for the last 9, 10 months on Clubhouse, and definitely gain more knowledge within the last few months. But I always wanted to tinker. It's like, what does this button do? What if what is this thing? What is aux? What is effect send? How do you do it? Why is there a fader as well? There's a knob. There are knobs on there. I didn't really understand that. And I've been podcasting for a long while, right? I still didn't understand that until last year. Well, was it last year? Yes. Clubhouse was last year, right? 2021. Yeah.
Yep.
so we gotta have another episode of like getting me to understand what's FXN and all this kind of thing from you, John.
Yeah, I gotta have like a different camera to show you mixers and so forth.
Yeah.
It's a fun thing. Yes, there's a lot of knowledgeable people, and that's how I learn is, I ask questions, because you see those buttons, you never use those, and you don't really know what those were until you needed to use them for mix minus, which is sometimes could be very difficult to do. And mix minus meaning you want one feed, audio feed that has all the sound except for one. So the whole mix minus one mix, or minus whichever track that you don't want to hear. And that could be very difficult to achieve sometimes, especially on live audio situations. But it's fun. And I ask question until I get it. It took me a while to get it, but I'm slowly getting more. So much more to learn still.
Good.
So
You
now I
learn.
have
We'll
three
ask you.
mixers. Yes. I mean, and that's a good practice too, actually. Trying to
Mm.
explain audio that I just learned, that I thought I knew, but then when you try to explain to people, you're like, wait, is that right? Then sort of check yourself whether or not you actually understand that.
But
But I
the,
think
but
what the most challenging is, especially when we are on Clubhouse, there is no visual, everything is just through audio, and we are trying to solve all the audio problems and get to understand. I think that is the most challenging thing that I ever learned, I think, in my life currently. Because I feel that you have to imagine like what is the problem. You have to imagine the mixer, the cables, and you have to troubleshoot it. So yeah, I think that is something interesting that we can talk about as well.
Yeah, true. Because I actually made it a point, and since I started podcasting, and now, to me it's almost like two different I have my podcasting chapter, and then I have the social audio chapter started last year. I think and very quickly I've met many of my friends that I knew through podcasting, and then now last year through Clubhouse, blind friends. So blind individuals who solely rely on audio, and many of them are drawn to that because they definitely understand the importance of sound, and they have a different relationship with sound compared to sighted people. And so when we talk, I know that there were audience in people in the audience in Clubhouse who are blind, and therefore I try very hard not to just use audio to explain things and describe things, rather than immediately for a sighted person who quickly want to jump to visuals, which is helpful, I would say. But in that platform, I try to stay just with using audio to describe the solution or describe the problem and then find the solution, just to include everybody in the room so that they can enjoy the process as well.
And you know, if you think about audio as just a genre, is really really huge. When you think about just maybe it's as simple as connecting to a mic, plug it in, and then there is audio coming out on the other side. Then you gotta be thinking, hey, the application of say doing a live show like this, even like doing video streaming, is a different application. Recording is gonna be a different application for a musician. Like maybe they want to sing with reverbs and stuff, all the way to like live performances where you need to like hear yourself, the feedback and stuff, where the placement of speakers, you have echoes. There's so many things when you think you learn everything, and then suddenly you say, oh, let's go wireless audio. Oh, what the heck is that? And how do you actually implement wireless audio? How is it dropping signal and all this kind of things? It's such a big genre, and there's so many 1,001 ways of actually applying audio in different scenarios that sometimes it's just overwhelming to like trying to understand all of it.
Yeah, but another point also, I feel that a lot of people like doesn't really care about audio. I'm not sure if it's just me or I have this feeling or what, because I feel that a lot of the event that I can do or a lot of live streaming that I watch, their audio was so terrible. Even though there is a very big event or very big virtual event, so sometimes I feel like audio is, yes, it's a very technical things, but sometimes in a physical event or a more bigger event where you have bigger, I would say like more classy type of event, then the audio sound like so crap.
I have so many comments about that, but I'll let other people speak.
Okay,
You
I'll
all go.
speak. I think, JohnShen, what you said is true. And one of the reasons I believe is different people, when they organize different events, it's either a question of budget or a question of the supplier. So sometimes because of the budget, they get, I'd say, a slightly inferior quality sound system, because sound system is a configuration of so many different types of components, and different brands have got different levels of standards and quality. So it's kind of like a mix and a blend. And then sometimes the audio sounds good because you have a good audio technician and a good audio guy. He can do wonders. Even if you give him a poor quality set of equipment, he can at least bring the best out of it. And that's something that I've learned over the years, that the sound engineer or the sound tech guy is very, very important, because he's the one who's going to make everything sound good in the hall. And there are other factors to take into account. Among them, of course, the acoustics of the hall, whether it's filled, and some of them, I'm sure in their heads they do their own calculations. The sound tech and the sound engineers, they know, like, okay, if how many people come in, then they would take over the absorption level of how many percent of the air waves or what have you, the sound waves. So it depends on so many factors. And that's why I agree with you. I've seen some and heard some which is very bad. And I remember in my early days, if you go to a hotel, if you do an event, they don't even hire, some people don't even hire or rent a separate sound system. They use the hotel's sound system, which is basically a PA system. It's just a thin stock of a condenser microphone, and then the speakers were all embedded onto the ceiling, and the ceiling is so high up, and the speakers are just small cone speakers like this, but they spread it out over the hall or the ballroom, and it was very bad those days. I mean, I've done events then when it was like that, and I could never understand why. But after a while, I know, because hey, it's free. It's provided by the hotel, so they use it. If they were to hire, they have to pay. So after that, and I'm very particular, because if I go onto a microphone, I always want to make sure that I sound like me. I don't want to go into a microphone in front of an audience and start talking, and then people, hey, this guy looks like
Who's that?
Raymond, but he sounds crap.
Sounds like
It's
John
one of
Ong.
those. Yeah. No, but it's true. That's how it is. That's what made me particular. I'm kind of like the opposite of John Ong, because John Ong is into a lot of the technical stuff, how it works, why it does this, why it does that. I'm okay, I'm an audio buff, but I'm more interested in what needs to connect to what to give the sound that has the That's how different I am. And I'm very fascinated by small speakers that can produce big sound. That I'm very fascinated. And those days, I think one of the first brands to actually do it was Bose.
Mm.
They had these
I
small
remember
speakers
seeing those
that's
in
about this size.
churches.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's like almost like
yeah.
a little
The
stick.
802s.
Mm.
Yeah, those were amazing. I remember I used just one pair of those, and it could fill a whole concourse area of a shopping mall. Good sound, very good sound. Okay, who's next?
All right, John Low.
No,
Hey,
what was the question?
how come I hear an echo?
Yeah, I do
Speaking
hear
of
an echo.
audio,
Yeah, I guess the echo. What happened?
let's troubleshoot this
I
live.
I think the echo came because John Ong was so quiet for so long.
It's my subconscious speaking.
Hey, no more echo.
Okay, all right, good. We
That's
troubleshoot it
because he's
immediately.
speaking. See,
Mm.
Okay, now let's see. Okay, now you talk, John Doe.
What was the question?
Hey, what was the
I
question?
lost trail. I
Uh,
lost
About
trail.
your,
a
your
bad
sound
audio.
system.
Bad audio.
Yeah, your bad audio.
What is bad audio?
No, well, like a lot of people don't care about
Appreciate.
audio.
Yeah.
Sometimes
Yep.
it comes out bad.
No, I think it's a matter of education, right? Like they don't know it's bad or good as long as they could hear and the message is clear, and a lot of times that is suffice. So like I don't know. I think audio makes out like very big part of a something that you would pay attention to. Like for instance, what I'm coming from is I do a lot of live streaming in terms of like message AGMs and all those kind of thing, or webinars, courses, and the moment if let's say there's bit rate that drops or the internet is not good, the first thing that is being compromised is the visual of things, right? It's a visual of things. It gets blurred, frames are dropped, but the audio continues, and it still has the power to hold the kind of engagement with the audience, right? So, but if let's say your audio is inaudible, can't be heard, right? That's when you lose the message totally. Even if the visual is great, right? And that's to me is important when it comes to the stuff that I do, being it live streaming to also the YouTube videos that I produce sometimes, right? I yeah, so bad audio sometimes is I guess it's education, and the more you do it, the more you listen, the more you look out for it, the more anal you get, unfortunately.
Hey, are we still good with the feed? The feed, did the feed stop?
No, the
Okay.
feed is pretty good.
Oh,
Okay.
I'm monitoring on Facebook itself.
Okay, cool.
So
So to me, I think self-awareness, and I think I talk about that quite a bit, is self-awareness, knowing what noise is as important as knowing what good sound is. And because audio is so important, as both of you mentioned earlier, that it carries the message across, and if it is not good, or it might cause confusion, and that is noise meaning it's like it's just any sort of distraction. If you look at Raymond go and the sound comes out as John Ong, then you'll be like, what? You cannot connect
I'll
the
probably
sound with
laugh.
the visual. And so we should do something like that. I'll do like miking it. And so to me, it's not as important before, because not a lot of people get their hands on audio equipment, and not a lot of people need to speak through microphones and speakers. And but now these days, equipment's getting cheaper. There's podcasts and there's like events where you can go to Lazada and buy a PA system, and you can set something up, and therefore it becomes dangerous because people then lack the knowledge to do it well, which is not a bad thing. I think it's a first step, right? Once you have the equipment, and then you're more interested and you gain more knowledge. And that's why now that we're in the stage of social audio, where people, that is the only communication tool that they have, that's the only medium. Audio is the only medium. And therefore that's why we do what we do on in the Soundcheck Club, is to get people talking about audio and understanding why is it that it's important. If they are talking and there's noise around you that's super distracting, it takes away from your message. And if that is the only medium, audio is the only medium, you really want to think about getting it to the best ability. And I'm not saying that you have to have a microphone that costs a lot of money, those gearheads of like us gearheads, but you at least need to be aware and conscious of your environment, whether or not it's noisy. Bedroom is best because there's less bouncing of the noise that we hear. In Malaysia particularly, because in America it's not as prominent, because we have typically softer surfaces like carpets and drywall instead of concrete wall. We have like terrazzo floor in Malaysia, and we have concrete ceiling in our house, and therefore it's very it feels like an echo chamber, so your sound is like bouncing off. So reverb in that room can cause distraction sometimes, and unintentional reverb, and then that could take away from your message. And that's why sound treatment of the room, understanding where you are, just simply going into a room that has more softer surface like a bedroom would be much better than, say, in a kitchen, for instance. And then also like traffic noise or vacuum, or just things that you don't think about, because we always live in a world where there's always constant noise around us, which we discussed earlier in this podcast. And now suddenly you want your voice to be the focus and not all the environment noise and sound. So we can talk about how to improve what we want to focus on and hone in just on our voice and not on the sound that's around us. So, but I think it's fun though. It's fun to talk about that, and I can see light bulbs turning on when people start thinking about, oh, I'm just using my iPhone to speak into Clubhouse, but I'm gonna shorten the distance between my mouth or my voice and the microphone on the iPhone, and that itself creates such a huge difference when we record and play it back for people. And when they can hear the difference, that's when the light bulb comes on. So it's fun. I think that really is education.
The bit that
Yep.
John Ong just said, there's so much tips and things that everyone could like get out of producing great audios and everything. I mean, relatively, I've got to say that the conversations that we have right now between JohnShen, John, Raymond, and myself, and we sound, I would say, we are pretty okay, right? I mean, we could hear ourselves pretty well. The meeting is being conducted well. Everybody is audible and everything. And my take is that how many of us in the day of like pandemic, like right now, jump into the Zoom meeting or whatever meeting platform that you are in, and then the audio. Some of your colleagues are not done up. You know, they're in a noisy environment, and how difficult was it to actually sit through that half an hour meeting or 1 hour meeting, and I mean, I guess it's also a way to like if you have bad audio, that's also maybe some sort of a courtesy kind of thing. If you can provide your colleagues with a better audio, then you are actually trying to communicate better, and then you are being courteous to them, perhaps.
I totally agree with you. And one of the things we always hear that people get fatigued with all this online meetings, virtual meetings, and stuff like that. It's not so much the meeting itself. It's more because of the duration of the meeting. Number one, plus bad audio and sometimes bad visuals. And I think bad audio is actually worse because that's where your message is. Even if I were to shut off my camera now, and if I were to still continue talking, you would at least still get the message that I'm trying to tell you. But in many of the Zoom meetings, what happens is it's bad. The audio is bad. Well, it's just one of those things. That's at least I'm happy to see that all of us are using. In fact, one of the reasons why I got this mic is so that when I conduct my Zoom training sessions with people, I used to do it on my laptop, which was actually horrible. But when I asked people how do I sound, everyone said okay. Until one day I played back and I heard it was bad. Laptop mics are bad. So I got one of these so that all the people who come join me at least would listen clearly. And I hope I sound okay now because you guys have got headphones on. I don't have, so I don't really know how I sound.
You sound good. You
I
always
should-
sound good.
Okay,
I mean,
good.
you can
Thank
be on
you
a
too. Okay,
Pasamalam
good.
mic, karaoke mic, and you'll still sound like really
That's not true. That's not true. I tried. It's not. It's not good. It's not good.
it's at least the potential. The potential. I think that's why people are telling you you sound good. It's probably because of that. I mean, obviously, naturally, your voice is good and the delivery is good. But yeah, I agree with you that there's when you hear, and that's what I meant by self-awareness, right? When you hear it, you know when you have bad audio. But a lot of times, people don't hear themselves because they just speak and they don't have their headphones on, and so you wouldn't know what the other end sound like until you actually become an audience of your own voice. And that's when you realize like, ooh, there's a lot of noise around me.
And you know what's funny? It's only when I'm on Zoom or a platform like this that I don't monitor myself. When I'm out there, like when I'm on air, I need monitors. When I'm in a ballroom and I'm speaking, I don't have monitors here, but I need to be able to hear the speakers that I'll use as a monitor. I need that. Otherwise, I'll feel very distant from the audience if I can't hear myself. But interestingly enough, over here, maybe because I'm looking at the laptop screen now. Maybe because the audio is bouncing back, so I can hear a little bit, but I can't get that. The kind of monitoring audio that you guys are listening to now.
In-ear, Raymond, in-ear headset.
Correct. In ear
But I
headset.
Or you
like
can be
though.
like us, a Queen Amidala style, right? I mean, this is like, yeah, I don't know,
Princess Leia.
emotional DJ Queen Amidala style.
A Princess Leia. There, that's my Princess Leia. JohnShen, focus
Yeah.
one.
Let's go. So
Yeah, there you go, Princess Amidala. There. No, not Princess Amidala. Yes, Princess Leia and Princess Amidala. Queen Amidala.
Queen
Yeah, I
Amidala,
think
Princess
I'm
Leia.
going to move to the next topic. I
Okay,
think
okay, okay.
before we proceed to the next question, I want Raymond you to like recap like about your how you get into the newscaster industry.
Oh, okay. Okay, I'll try to summarize it. It's actually a very long story. Long time ago, I told you I was a DJ, right? And I was actually a radio DJ with Radiofusion, John Ong. I don't know whether I've told you that.
No.
Yeah. Okay. So here's what happened. This was in the 80s, I believe. Yes, it was in the 80s. By the way, I'm 35 in case you guys forgot. All right. So
Yes, I'm a
so I
little
was a
older than
radio
Raymond.
good. So I was a radio DJ with Radio Fusion doing English, of course, because my Chinese is bad. And they only had two channels. One was Chinese, one was English, and English had to share it with Malay. So long story short, what happened was TP3 had launched, and it was probably about a year or two after they had launched. And they had this program called Majalah Tiga.
Oh, I
And
remember.
it's kind of like a news magazine program where they cover something different every week. And that particular episode, they wanted to cover DJs. They wanted to talk about DJs, so they went to interview all sorts of DJs, disco DJs, radio DJs, English DJs, English speaking, Malay speaking, and Chinese speaking, or what have you, you know. And for some reason, they came to Radio Fusion. And when they came to Radio Fusion, when they were looking for an English speaking DJ to interview, somebody assigned me to be the one that they talked to. So they interviewed me. Obviously, they brought the tapes back. And TV3 those days, the office was just one floor, on the ground floor. No walls. You walk in, you can see across. Everybody is so close together because it was only 2 years old or so. So obviously, the head of news probably saw the tape somewhere. And one day I got a call. He called up Radio Fusion looking for me, and I wasn't there. I got a message, and then I called him back. And when I called him back, he actually said this: "How would you like to do the news for us?"
Wow.
So of course I said yes.
Wow.
And then after that I had a meeting with them. We discussed, and then we had to go through some long mock runs, which is another story altogether. And finally, at the end of it, I was selected. Yeah. So that's how I got in.
Wow.
Oh
So I always
Still
say
wow.
it's,
there.
yeah, still there. And I always say it's being at the right place at the right time. You know, and and the more right places you go to, one of these days it will be the right time. So it happened for me then. And over the years, I've seen, when you start connecting the dots to your past, it's only then you can see the dots actually making sense, that particular connection, because it all has to start with a connection of the dots that leads to another path, to another path, to another path, until where we are today. So there are many dots in the past. And the whole idea is to make use of those dots to try and at least understand them and decipher them and see where it's taken you, and perhaps chart for ourselves what possible future path it could lead us to. That's my little theory.
Very good advice.
Huh. Yeah.
That's
Didn't share this with you guys,
Fascinating
eh?
story.
Yeah, the reason why I ask this is because the next
Hmm.
question is something that I think very important for a newscaster is how important is audio for a newscaster itself?
Oh, it's well, audio in terms of my own voice, it's the most important. One of the can you imagine if I lost my voice? That would be over. I mean, it's over. All right, it's over. You can buy me how many Shure mics or whatever mixers, it's still over, right? And so it is important in that sense. And when it comes to, well, I'm lucky because whatever comes out on air is not controlled by me. It's our technicians, our sound engineers, and so forth. They are the ones who put out all the sound. So so I'm lucky in that sense. I don't have to go monitor. Oh, I want, I don't have to do that. But it is very, very important as far as I'm concerned. And you know what? I actually try to insure my voice because at that time I knew if I lost my voice, that was it.
Mm.
And those days they didn't have very good insurance cover for voice. They had, but the premium was, guess what, 20 or 20 something percent of the sum insured. It's like,
Oh, wow.
what the heck?
Wow.
I might as well take the risk. Why pay that kind of money? That's crazy, you know. Yeah. So as I was saying, I'm 35 now, so I don't need to insure it anymore. If I lose my voice, it's called retirement. Those days, if I lost my voice, it's called lost job. Yeah,
Thanks for your sharing, Raymond. I think it's a very good
my
one to
pleasure.
know that.
My pleasure.
Yeah.
John Doe, you become speechless.
John Lo, go
Oh,
ahead.
I
Say
think the
something.
vaccine is like kicking in, you know.
Oh,
So
oh, okay. Oh,
Oh,
right, right, right. Oh, okay. All right. Be
It's like
careful.
falling asleep.
Yeah.
oh no,
Well,
it
we
was
wouldn't we couldn't really tell because not much of a change in your normal behavior.
well. I mean, that's really nice. Story about how you began, and that is
Mm.
really a privilege to actually learn about a icon here in Malaysia.
I
I mean, we grew
agree.
up with TV3. We grew up with TV3, and know seeing you on TV when we were kids and stuff, and to learn the story,
Come
the
on, you
humble
were
You must be
beginnings
kids.
and
Come
all.
you must
on.
be
Come
one
on,
year
I
old
was a
you must be
kid. Come on, yeah, exactly.
he was listening to the Majalah Tiga when he was 3 months old.
yeah. All right, forgot he's 35 years old.
Yes. That definitely, and then no learning that your start at Rediffusion actually has another layer for me, right? Because I was so
Oh,
connected to Rediffusion. So yeah, Lei Tei Ho Sing in Hokkien. Lei Tei Ho
oh,
Sing.
okay. I only know Ladi Fu Sing.
Ah, like Take Fu
Uh,
Sing is
I
in
think it's
Cantonese.
Cantonese.
Yeah, Hokkien is Lei Tei Ho Sing. Wow, I mean that's such a big part m- um of how I'm into audio today. It has such a big
Mm.
part of it. So special. Wow. Thanks
now
for
all the
sharing
dots
that.
connected.
Ah, you
No,
got
I
disconnected?
hope you.
I know. I mean
no,
all
you're
the
here.
dots is connected.
Oh, yes, yes. All the dots connected. Yes.
Oh,
Bad audio.
you
See,
wanna
bad audio can cause confusion.
know how the dots another connection of the dots happen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, the
Tell
story that
us.
I told you, I cut it short, okay, because I was already a Rediffusion, right? So it was because I was a Rediffusion, and it so happened that they did this interview at Rediffusion that I made the connection. Now, if I hadn't gotten into Rediffusion, that would have been a different story altogether. And how I got into Rediffusion was another very interesting thing. One day, in fact, those days, I actually applied somewhere. I think it was RTM or something like that. I can't remember. So one day I decided to call up radio stations, and guess what? I came across Rediffusion. I didn't even really know. I mean, I knew Rediffusion was a radio station. I never really knew if they had a program in English. And I called them up. I decided to pick up the phone and call. This was those days, when I was six. Yeah. All right. So, so I picked up
Child
the phone.
prodigy.
The directory, yellow pages,
Ah,
or, or
yes. Phone
whatever
book.
your directory, the phone book, yeah, Radio Fusion. So I called it up. I called them up, and it was in the evening, so it's after work. And luckily for me, the person who picked up the phone that evening happened to be the GM, the
Wow.
general
Wow.
manager of Rediffusion. And the reason why he picked up the phone was, those days they had a hunting line system. So when the office closes, the hunting line would stop going hunting anywhere and they would direct it to specific phones. And one of them was the GM's phone because he was
Uh,
there. So he picked up and I spoke to him, and he was quite pleased with how I sounded. And lo and behold, he said, "Okay, come in next Tuesday, go see this person at what time, and we'll give you an audition." So
wow.
that's how I got my audition for Radio Fusion.
Wow.
Wow.
Over the phone, so if you don't have
Yeah,
a
it,
mic,
it
use a
was.
phone.
Yeah,
That's like
but you
Clubhouse
see that,
all over again.
and here's the thing, and these are the few key things that charted the path for me. One action leads to another, and people always say, if you don't knock on the door will never open anyway. And most people, because of the fear of rejection, they don't even try to reach, especially making a call. But I was just very lucky, super lucky in that sense.
Yeah.
So
Mm.
you
But
want something,
you do take
we have to.
action, and then you have
Yeah, we
qualities
have
to
to
support
take.
that. I
Yeah,
mean,
we,
you're
we, we
good
have to take
to begin
action.
with, but you have to take action before the
Mm,
quote luck would come to you, right?
yeah, you any of us can be the best at something, but if nobody finds us, nobody knows us. That's it.
Yeah.
you know.
Bedroom singer like me.
You're a great singer, John Ong.
Yeah, so you
I
got to
think we
do
should.
a lot of more session on Clubhouse. You will be discovered.
No, 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 John Lowe. No, he's got to sing a song to close us out afterwards.
Oh no.
Special request.
No, 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 no.
To our viewers, if you have any question or comment, you can write in the comment box, and we will answer to you.
I mean, come on. How regularly do you get an opportunity to interact with Raymond Go? I mean,
Exactly.
yeah, this is such an honor for me. I mean, with like I just learned about the Rediffusion connection, and now learning about your stories. That is so such an inspirational story. Thank you for sharing. Wow. The dots.
Yeah.
Don't be fixated by the dots, right? You can look at the big picture. You have the whole journey to plot. So, while you're within that dot, you don't see all the connections, but keep keep at it. That's
Well,
so amazing.
finally, it's like to be right. You guys, JohnShen, I met you in Clubhouse. Like literally,
Mhm.
that's when I met you in Clubhouse. But when it comes to Raymond and John Ong, it felt like I sort of like know John Ong for like the longest time because of Penang Hokkien. Not that I listened to the podcast. I was a geek that was into podcasts and tried to like launch a podcast and never did, right? But there was this Malaysian dude, right? That's in Malaysia. That's like doing podcasts when nobody knows what podcast was about. And I was like such a Apple fanboy. And I was like, dude, John Ong, I could really remember your name back then, right? And then
Wow.
and when we have
Wow.
Raymond on the other side, on TV3, and to top that off, over these months of speaking in Clubhouse, we got to know that we almost crossed path in Astro and all this kind of thing. These moments put it together is really very somewhat of a goosebump kind of thing. Like,
Yeah.
wow, all those years of like things coming together
Isn't it ironic that all four of us met up because we happened to be at the right place at the right time?
Yes.
because of
Exactly.
audio.
Yeah,
And because of
and it's
audio, we
because
got
of
together.
audio. Yes,
Yeah.
Wow.
amazing.
I need a sound effect or something. Awesome. Yeah, there.
That's a classic JohnShen. Awesome. Love it.
Awesome.
Wow.
Have you gotten your song ready, Jono?
I did it my way. Come on.
One last question to you, Raymond, before we wrap this up.
Oh, okay.
You've been in the industry for some time, and I think you have also been in the new being a newscaster for some time. So, for you as a newscaster, I'm sure it is all the news that you do is live. So, I believe there is a lot of organic problem during the live broadcast. So, when a problem occurs, how do you solve it, especially when it is on the live stream?
Okay.
Do you
All
panic?
right.
I'm
Um,
looking forward to the answer to this one.
well, I've not panicked. We've had technical issues. Most of the issues are all technical. Either the prompter goes, or either they're supposed to roll something, a video, and the video doesn't come out, and they tell you in your earpiece that, okay, move on to story number X, and story number X is probably three stories after the next story, and you have to really search for it fast. So those are mostly technical issues, and sometimes the mic could fail us. The mic could fail when we're reading, and then someone will just tell us, "Oh, okay, someone's coming to change the mic because the last three sentences you said nobody heard what you said."
And that's kind
Stuff
of
like that.
important in a newscast.
Yeah, yeah. So 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 those were the technical ones, and of course sometimes the prompter blacks out, and then we have a standby. We used to have hard copies as standby. Now we use an iPad. So
Mm.
it it doesn't make you panic or anything. It's more like, okay, you know what to do next. It's there. Everything is there. You go look for it and do it. So that's the technical side. On personal side, okay, I think tonight you've seen me laugh a lot, right?
Yes.
I remember I remember telling you something earlier, and I laughed like, oh, my kettle thing, yeah. And I really laughed like crazy, right? Yeah. Okay, here's what happened back in the 80s. We used to have two readers, and it was coming to the end of the English bulletin. Gerard Benedict was my partner,
Oh yes,
and
I remember.
and he was supposed to say something. I'm supposed to say something, and then then we say goodnight, that kind of stuff. And I blurted out something which was actually a repeat of something. Let me see if I can recall it. Okay, we finish the bulletin, and then we tell our audience. I would say something like, "Stay tuned for the Bahasa Malaysia news, which will be at 8 p.m. in Bahasa Malaysia," which wasn't what the script says. Okay, it's just one
Uh-huh.
of those things. You just ask people, and I thought, after I said it, I thought, my, that was such a silly thing to say. It's
Like redundant, right?
Bahasa
It's felt
Malaysia,
like
yeah,
silly.
written Bahasa Malaysia news, which will be in Bahasa Malaysia, and I found it so funny. Okay,
I did
I
too.
and I just couldn't speak anymore. I wanted to laugh, so what I did was I went like, and I was supposed to carry on saying something and say goodnight, and then I turned and looked at Gerard. Gerard saw my face. He nearly burst out laughing, but but he held his nerve. That one I gotta take it off to him, because I was a goner. I couldn't open my. If I had opened my mouth, it would have gone. Bah!
Oh, so you didn't
But
laugh, you just like held it in, like I cannot
it
go
was
on anymore.
coming
I
out.
can't
It was
open up.
coming out. It was coming out. I knew if I opened my mouth, I'm a goner. So he saw my face, and he held on, and he closed the thing off. He took the line which I was supposed to say, which was something else, and good night. And then after we went off, and then we burst after he closed it. Oh my god, that was something that we both burst out. Oh, that was crazy.
Was it shown on air? Like how news
Like,
end, right?
right, it
You
dims the
know,
light, right?
it dims the light, and then the live video feed is still going on. Did you burst out laughter on the set itself, or you gotta wait until like everything was off?
It's like that. Like
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
what was
We
it like?
can see from the monitor that is no longer on us.
Oh, okay.
The cam has already
Cut
switched,
away.
so they're
Yeah.
rolling. So the only thing is, yes, there are times when the microphone is still on while the credits are rolling. Yeah,
Hot mic situation.
yeah, I don't think anything happened to me with regard to that, so I'm lucky. Yeah, well, that was crazy. That was really crazy. So that's my story for you, Johnson.
Love
Hey,
it.
that
I
is a
love it.
wonderful
Even
story,
even
Raymond.
telling you now.
Oh my god. Well, these are amazing nuggets of how a presenter here in Malaysia, you only get it in like all these private sessions with all of us here. Well, that's so awesome.
Ah, what a
Oh
gem.
my! I think
Yeah.
we're live, right? This is a public session.
Public private session. It's a small crowd here.
That's the dangerous, right? That's when it gets
Mm.
dangerous is when you speak to people that you speak to all the time in private, and then when you go live, you still think that you're speaking in private.
Yeah, it's a
Oh,
Good
wonderful
story.
sharing, Raymond.
mm.
Really love the insight, man.
I know it's
Yeah.
so special.
I'm
Yeah.
glad you guys enjoyed it. I still laugh
I
about it
think
today.
we have
See?
come to the end of this session. So
All
I'm
right.
really thankful that all of us can have like a New Year podcast, especially on the audio. And I really thanks to our special guests, Raymond, Gonlo, and Gon Ong, that can give my podcast on tonight topic that is about impact of audio in our everyday life. I think we have an in and out of the impact of audio. So I would like to end the session. Follow all of us on Instagram. You can find on Instagram. And we'll see you on the next session. See you guys.
No, John
Thank you
Uncle
for
is
Thank you,
singing.
having
John.
us.
I thought John was singing. Oh my
No,
god.
no, 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 no.
And the last one
Bye,
from all of you.
everyone.
Bye. See you, John Lo. See you, John Long.
See you
Thanks again,
guys.
John.
Well, thanks, JohnShen, for
Bye.
having us. Bye
No
bye.
problem. We are going
Bye.
to end the broadcast in 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.